Known as a passionate artist, known for loving the outdoors, known for getting everyone together. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be.
Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. It's Friday. We'll have JC. Then we'll have Steve Russell. He'll talk a little Gator baseball for us. He's the dean of sports talk. Get his thoughts. Not a whole lot going on last night. Gators play Vanderbilt tomorrow in the O'Connell Center. We're going to go live. If you want to text the program, the Titan MR text line is 352-353-7465. JC, you're on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, coming to us live from Madison or Ridgeland, Mississippi.
Yeah, Ridgeland, Mississippi, and Madison County, North Jackson, and look at this beautiful place, the Town Place Suites at Colony Park. Look at this. Look at the duck pond back there. We've got joggers. I got my state hat rolling right now. I mean, we've got a wrestling tournament to go to. I get to watch this kid wrestle. He's nephew of my wife, and he is.
What weight classification does he wrestle in?
He will be in the 190, I guess, 190 pounds, and he will be battling the best that the state has to offer. Because in Mississippi in high school, you got the South, and then you got the North, and then
it only makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And they get
and I bet, and he goes to what high school?
Well, he goes to down there in D'Iberville.
Okay, so my point bringing that up is he will not be wrestling against anybody from Jackson Prep.
No, and I drove by Jackson Prep last night as I got out of the airport at Medgar Evers International Airport in South Jackson, and we drive out. We get on Lake Point or Lake Park Drive, and I go by Jackson Prep, and they've got lights going on. The ballpark is live. There are kids running around out there. There's bleachers and just people everywhere. I said, look at that. Here it is. It's 7:00 at night. It's a Thursday, and we've got kids running around. We've got parents parked everywhere. We've got a facility with lights, a ballpark that looks like Kerner Field in Atlanta. And I mean, it is meant to be here. Okay. This place, I'm telling you, man, Mississippi is so much more progressive than Alabama or Louisiana. I really believe that. There's just more going on here.
And Florida. Put Florida there as well.
Well, when it comes to young people and sports and parents, and then I walk into a restaurant called what the hell? It's right over there. I walked in. These folks came out and they were all dressed up. The gentleman had their dinner jackets on with a tie and a shirt, and he opens the door and he goes, "Don't worry, my man. I left some for you. It's so good in there." And I said, well, so I got something called, now I didn't know what this was called at the time, but it was spelled crepe, C-R-E-P-E. And apparently that's really a crepe. All right. Well, I told the guy, I said, I wanted the seafood crepe. He goes, "Oh, you're referring to our crepe." I said, "Well, what the hell is a crepe?" He goes, "Well, it's kind of like a pancake, and it's very smooth, and they make it, and then they put the fish, the shrimp on there, and the crawfish, and everything, and wrap it up, and it's smooth. It's very thin, beautiful for dinner coming off a flight." And
well, did you wear a jacket or did you wear that sweatshirt into the restaurant?
No, I look like this. I did not have a dinner jacket with a tie, but he said, "Don't worry, buddy. I left some for you." It's just such a cool vibe up here. Anyway, so I'm on the road this weekend, doing a little road tripping. I'm going to keep my eye on what's going on in the SEC. This is the heart of SEC country. It's a huge conference, and I'm just thrilled to be up here at Colony Park. This is a beautiful spot, man. Jackson Jackson, Mississippi. I think it's about 800,000 people here, maybe 7. But yeah, it's a capital of the state of Mississippi, and they've got 2 teams trying to get into the big dance in Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Mississippi State took care of them the other night in Starkville. Chris Beard got a technical. You should have seen that. It was hilarious. And they had almost 10,000 fans in the hump. And it's good to see basketball really popular in this conference right now. Every arena is filled up, and it's well, almost every.
Yeah. Mississippi State's pretty much a lock to get in. Ole Miss is kind of on the bubble, along with A&M. We had came in last night, I guess, on YouTube. I don't think people understand what I say sometimes, and they take it the wrong way. But Gator says, I was referring to the game last night or the other night against Alabama. I said, it's not that big a deal that we lost. We did not drop any in the Kim Palm ratings or any of that stuff. It did not matter. He goes, it does matter because for your record, who you beats gets you a seed. Look, I understand that, but this had no bearing on your seeding. Gators are going to be anywhere between a 9 and a 7. I feel like no matter what happens the rest of the year. So anyway, I just had to throw that out there.
I tell you, I had a dream. QB. Honest to God, I'm not kidding you. I remember you guys talking about who the top seeds were. I think it was with Mike Morgan, or maybe it was with Buddy. I'm not sure, but you were saying who are the top seeds going to be in this tournament, in the NCAA tournament? And of course, they threw out Connecticut in the East. You threw out Houston in the South, possibly Kansas in the Midwest, and then maybe somebody like Arizona or Purdue in the Midwest, and then Arizona in the West. Well, I had a dream. The Gators were going to be an 8 seed. Purdue was a 1 seed. The Gators were going to play Seton Hall as a 9 seed, and then play Purdue in the second round and win that game, like Purdue always loses in the first 2 rounds, and go to the Sweet 16. I had that dream. And the reason why I said Purdue is because I see a very similar team, big front court, really good offensive boards, and guard play. And so that's my dream. So the Gators are going to beat Purdue in the second round and go to the Sweet 16. What do you think of that?
Yeah, Tony said on here he had a dream that he had this thing called a ribeye, and it went great with ketchup. JC, you don't put ketchup on your steak, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, not ketchup. No. I'm not afraid to go. Well, I'm not afraid to go to Texas Roadhouse and get that 6-ounce Dallas filet and drop a tad bit of that A1 or Texas Roadhouse sauce on there. I'm not afraid of that. But I always put mushrooms and onions on top. You have to put mushrooms and onions on top of your Dallas filet. That if you don't do that, then you're just eating raw. You're just eating a raw cow. I mean,
Dan says you're an A1 guy, JC. Are you an A1 guy?
I kind of do like A1. It's pretty good. I like it better than the 57 sauce. But
well, neither one of those should go with a real steak. So, all right.
Well, I've been told that.
On the Titan MR text line, this is from Mike. He says, if you and JC want to come into the Best Bet St. Augustine, I will buy your dinner and drinks. We are a poker room that offers cash games, tournaments, and table games. We have a bar with a full menu, including our award-winning sushi bar. Tell JC it is better than Ching Tong Thai.
But that would be Bai Tong Thai. And I will tell him that I will take him up on that. I have a residence over there in St. Johns County. I love St. Augustine. I'd be happy to drive in and participate in the festivities. And I don't know if I can't speak for you, QB, but that sounds like a damn good time. Please take that.
Well, I don't play poker, but
down.
We'll have to. I'll keep Mike's number here.
Maybe we do that.
Well, I don't know if Mike runs the place or if he's just a patron that goes there.
We would be red carpet guests, QB. They'd roll it out for us. We just roll right on in there, coming out of the right in.
On the Titan of our text line, Bob in Orlando says, Shane, at the Florida High School coaches meeting in Orlando, Napier said the issue with the offensive line last year was we had 2 guards playing tackle. He said, we have a few guys who can play tackle this year, and we should see improvement in the offensive line play. What are your thoughts and comments? I agree with that. I was actually down there for work at that. I listened to Coach Napier and some of the other coaches briefly while I was doing some other stuff. But, yeah, I mean, we had guys out of place, but we had nobody else to put in. So I think we'll be a much better football team this year.
Different players, guys. The rosters in college football, it's almost become one of those things where you don't even know who's on the roster each
Somebody on Facebook Live was wanting your opinion on the officiating the other night at Tuscaloosa.
Well, I think it always gets down to whoever loses that game hates what the officiating was like. And, the only time I really had a problem with officiating, and I'll get to that question, I'm not dodging the question, but was when Auburn shot 50. That's a 5 and a 0, 50 free throws against Alabama. That's when I had a problem with it. But
where was the game at?
I don't. It was in Auburn, and I think there tends to be home cooking at all of the SEC games. So if you're a Florida fan, you think maybe the officiating was poor. It makes sense. I mean, it's just the way I think the conference works. But I don't think that's why Florida lost the game. They had the lead most of the night. They could have easily won the game. They will get another shot. Now, look, folks, they'll get another shot at Alabama at the Stephen C. O'Connell Center at Exact Tech Arena on Billy Donovan Court in Gail Lemrian Drive on Don DeVoe parking lot and Norm Sloan, cafeteria, because that's a home game for Florida. They'll get another shot. Sometimes, you just win your home games. That's enough for the committee. And they're going to get Florida in there as a 7, like you said, 7-10, unless Florida does something special in the tournament and maybe win it or something. But 7-10 seed. And like I said, you'll beat Purdue in the second round and go to Sweet 16. There you go.
Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. Got JC on the Tamar text line, live from Mississippi.
Colony Park. Beautiful spot. Colony Park, beautiful spot. But didn't you like the way that, the activeness of Clayton and Pullen?
Look, I've been saying it from the first game I watched these guys play. Our two guards are as good as anybody in America. And
they'll keep you in every game.
Will Richard knocks down shots, this team is hard to beat. And we got active, bouncy, whatever you want to call them, athletic big men. I'm one of the few who thinks this team is – I might be the only person that thinks this team's better when Riley Kugel does not play. I get a lot of backlash on that, but I don't care. My eyes tell me that we are a better basketball team when he does not play. And I think
reminds me of QB.
And Ty Golden thinks the same thing, obviously. Because he didn't play.
He reminds me of that guy that played for the Sixers that kind of disappeared, Ben Simmons. That's who he reminds me of. Not much on the offensive side.
Ben Simmons was
Cool.
Really good in college.
Right, really, but in the NBA, he couldn't make a layup. The guy passed on.
We can't make a layup in college. We're talking now.
Well,
Andy says most people think we're better when Kugel doesn't play. Maybe they do, but Andy, I get blasted on the text line and on YouTube, people sending me comments because he's an NBA prospect. Well, let me tell you something. Maybe he goes great and plays in the G League or whatever it's called and turns out to be a great pro. But my eyes tell me he should not get on the floor. So I'm agreeing with you.
I don't see a whole lot there that would say take out Richard and put him in, take out Pullen and put him in, unless there's foul issues and so forth.
Well, even the other night we had foul issues. They put Denzel Valentine. I think he played for Denzel Valentine played for Michigan State back in the day. I'm losing my mind.
I know who you're talking about. But I don't disagree with that. I think the team's really coming together with chemistry and playing on the road now, expecting to win games. The rule is you just don't win on the road in the SEC. This team doesn't seem to. I really like the way they led most of the game in Tuscaloosa. They didn't win it, didn't hold on, but they could have very easily won that game, and it may not have even had to go to overtime. I just think the team is peaking. They're playing better. And this is the time you have to do it because we're getting toward the end of February and you've got to be ready to roll in March if you're going to have a great season. So there you go.
Yeah. Frank says the reason Kugel didn't play was because he was sick. I don't know about that. They put him in the game. He turned it over immediately and they yanked him out of the game.
Well,
you can believe what you want to believe, but I don't.
No, I'm not. I don't disagree.
That's just like, if your left tackle's not playing great, you put him in there and he whiffs on the first play, you take his ass out. I'm just telling y'all. Anyway, Yeah, Tony says he has the basketball flu. I would agree with that. JC, do you, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on in sports right now. I mean, we got college basketballs in full effect and a lot of big games. Your school, how do you think Alabama, like I firmly feel like Alabama plays every game at home. They're finally going on a road trip. They're going to Lexington, where they lost on the last second shot to LSU, blew a 16-point lead in the second half.
Oh, just right when you think Kentucky's getting it figured out too. I don't know. LSU's trying their damnedest to play themselves into the tournament, winning these games. But Kentucky is, they're one day they can beat anybody. The next day they can almost seems to lose to anybody. I think Alabama on the road is going to be fine. I don't know if they'll win these next two. They probably will win one of the two. It's like you said, who's counting right now? I think the league is shaping itself into an 8 or maybe a 19 league into the tournament. Seeding will matter, but if you're a 5 or a 4 or a 6 or a 7, 8, or 9, I don't know how much that matters. I don't like the 8-9 spot though, because you do end up playing the number 1 seed in if you win, and that's not easy. But Alabama is projected to be a 3 seed maybe, and we'll see. In the South, Houston will be a 1 seed in the South. I like that region. I think it's Houston. I think it's UConn. I think it's Arizona, and it's either Purdue, Kansas, or somebody.
Your Arizona team got beat last night by Washington State, by the way.
The Cougs. I had that Coug hat on.
Well, you wore their hat.
Everybody start paying attention to the damn Cougars.
And they beat them. They beat them in Tucson.
That Washington State team is the real deal, folks. The Cougs, and that little school in Nowheresville, Washington State is really something. I'm surprised Arizona lost, but I think they've done enough to this point to still get a 1 seed. But you got to put somebody there, QB, out of the West. So
it'll still be Arizona. It'll be Arizona.
But
text on the Titan of our text line from Robert in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. He says, JC, I'd like to get your thoughts, being an Alabama grad, on how your university treated Eli Gold.
Well, now that I'll need to be updated on that.
Okay, so basically,
I know he came back.
They asked Eli Gold, if I'm not mistaken, they asked Eli Gold to just do the home games, and Chris Stewart, who filled in for him when he was sick with cancer and does basketball and everything, was going to do the away games. Well, Eli apparently didn't want to do that. So basically, in a nice way, but in a horrible way, they fired him. So Chris Stewart is now your play-by-play guy for the Alabama Crimson Tide, not Eli Gold.
Well, Eli, not that I don't really necessarily agree with. I think you let a guy like Eli Gold retire on his own terms. But I thought that once he came out of chemo and rehab, he decided, he agreed on just doing the home games.
Nope, he says he's healthy as a horse right now, and they're talking about him taking legal action because they're saying that they fired him due to his age, or I don't know. I didn't read it all, but it's a big stink on Twitter. JC, are you still suspended from Twitter?
Well, I think Greg Byrne. I'm not sure about this. I'd have to read up on this. Thank you for the question from Muscle Shoals. I apologize. I'm not up to date on that controversy right now. I'm just trying to focus on
You're focusing on the wrestling tournament.
Well, it's a big deal. State championships, North and South get together in Jackson. But in the state of Mississippi, this kid got a scholarship to Huntington College in Montgomery. He's only been wrestling for a year and a half. He never did it before, and he learned quickly. And some private school in Montgomery, Alabama, gave him a full ride. Try that. How about that? And they don't do wrestling in the South. There used to be, back when Florida had sports in Alligator Alley, which was the Florida gym that our friend Mike Morgan won the intramural championship in, and that the Gators played basketball in, back when I was growing up in the 70s, before the O'Connell Center, the wrestling program at Florida, they had a wrestling program, and the SEC had wrestling. Kentucky was there. They had wrestling, and wrestling was the sport that got whacked when Title IX showed up. And I really wish that wrestling was a collegiate sport in most of the country, but it's basically a Midwestern sport. Big Ten Conference dominates it. Penn State, I think, is the #1 team in the country. but traditionally you've got the Iowa schools and the Oklahomas and so forth. They do wrestling. I think wrestling is a great sport to watch. I actually did it in intramurals at Alabama. I wrestled. So
you did?
Oh hell yeah!
Do we have any footage we can get on this?
This would be in the early '80s, QB. But I remember I was also slow pitch softball intramural champion in '86. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but that and wrestling.
But I wrestled. Yes, I wrestled. Fireman carry.
Did you wrestle at Buchholz? Is my question.
Armbar. No. I learned it in the dorm. Guys beat each other up in the dorm, so you had to grow up fast in the dorm.
JC, that wrestling with your buddy in the dorm is not wrestling like competitive. You will get clobbered.
We went out there on the mats and wrestled and wrestled with each other, and they formed a little intramural league. QB, I won a couple of times too, but mostly I got pinned. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I got cradled one time, and I thought my neck was going to break. I was dead. But I learned how to do the cradle. So anyhow, it's the toughest sport. I think it's tougher than football for high school athletes because of the weight requirements, because of the training they have to do. It is really a grind, and it's hard, man. And this kid's got a scholarship. He little Catholic school, St. Patrick's up there by D'Iberville. And here he is at States for the 190 weight class. Think about that. Little Catholic school, call it St. Francis in Gainesville, Florida, has a wrestler that's going to go wrestle down at Lakeland against the boys from Brandon, Florida. Think about that. That's what we're talking about here. So it's an exciting time for this kid and his family, and he's got a scholarship to Montgomery. His name is Thomas Seglio. And so we'll watch for Thomas Seglio here at Jackson. St. Andrews High School. Beautiful private school, but a big setting for the state championship wrestling tournament. You ever heard of St. Andrews?
Asa thought it was funny that I asked if you were still suspended from Twitter. I think you still are, by the way. Anyway, we got a text here on the Titan Lamar text line from Ricky. He says, "Hey guys, we'd like to know y'all's thoughts. If y'all were the Chicago Bears, what you would do with the first pick? You trade Justin Fields.
That's easy.
Take Caleb Williams. What would y'all do?"
Easy. Load up your roster with draft picks. Get rid of Justin Fields. Draft Caleb Williams, and get him some help on the offensive side of the ball. Sign Montez Sweat on the defensive end side. The Bears will be in there competing for the Central Division with Detroit.
I think the Bears have good wideouts, so I really do.
I do too. I think the Bears played very good football at the end of the year last year. They were not a team to be overlooked, I think. And Fields was hit all the time. And, in fairness to Fields.
Well, a lot of times that's on the quarterback too, JC.
Absolutely. The game is slow. The game is fast to him. The game still hasn't slowed down for Justin Fields. You and I both see eye to eye on that. And I think
he's a good tailback.
You get 2 first rounders. Just let them go and load up your team with draft picks. And get Caleb Williams. Well,
JC, Gene wants to know who your favorite wrestler was when you were growing up.
Oh, the American Dream. That would be Dusty Rhodes with a bionic elbow. That was with Gordon Soley when we had wrestling from the state of Florida. It was the greatest show on earth. And I've been to some of those wrestling. That was when wrestling was actually not a big soap opera performance on TV like it is today. And it's done amazing things. They have huge viewership. The company is traded publicly, but back then the NWA was National Wrestling Alliance with Gordon Soley on Saturday afternoon. Always watch that before the sports. And Gordon Soley, Dusty Rhodes, and Don Morocco,
Jerry the King Lawler,
Abdullah the Butcher. I love Jerry the King Lawler, but before him was Tommy Rich, Mr. Wrestling number 2, Mr. Wrestling number 1, Ole Anderson, Arn Anderson, Dusty Rhodes, Don Morocco. The Iron Sheik, Ivan Koloff. I mean, good God, this was the best stuff on television. It was a classic. So Ric Flair, that's where he started. Ric Flair started there. Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan before he became Hulk Hogan. Everything was just so cool back then. Kids today didn't get a piece of that.
Somebody asked a question on here. I was going to ask you, but it had nothing to do with wrestling. It was actually about real sports. And but Facebook Live doesn't let me scroll it down anymore to find it. So Sorry
Well,
about that.
I like watching on. I'm just going to be honest. I when I watch on days I'm not on, I put it on YouTube. I like
Well,
watching
YouTube
YouTube,
has
but
different people asking questions,
they
JC.
do, and so I like Facebook, YouTube. Thank you for doing it. We're also on Spotify, I guess, and whatever else, QB. But I love that we've got folks from Muscle Shoals, we've got folks from St. Augustine, all
We
coming
got people
in.
from other countries, JC, that listen to this program, believe it or not.
I'm sure the tennis players in Abu Dhabi right now are checking us out before they get out there and warm up. I wouldn't be surprised, So, but
yeah, okay. So Andy has a legitimate question here off our wrestling for the day. He says the Chiefs just signed that punter that got in trouble that was with the Buffalo Bills. Is Tommy going elsewhere? He's an unrestricted free agent. You never know. The Chiefs may be trying to save money. The NFL is a crazy business, man. It's a crazy business.
Yeah. Well, it is, and right now we need college football to kind of get some baseline and to get uncrazy. Saban was talking the other day about how nothing is college football anymore. College football doesn't exist the way he said it, and he wasn't saying that the players shouldn't get something for their name,
image, and likeness.
But he did say there's nothing collegiate. He said this. There's nothing collegiate about college football. The term student athlete is a joke. Now, I don't agree with that in overall, because kids still do, believe it or not, go to class.
I don't know about that either.
How much? Well, so Washington State played Arizona the other night. Those Cougar players in class this week? I doubt it. Tutors go with them, I guess. But how do you be a student athlete in today's society? All the traveling now, that these conferences with the
JC
required, it's crazy.
When COVID hit, majority everything they do is online anyway. So
that's right.
The traveling has nothing to do with going to class.
How do you learn that way, QB? I hate going online just to read like some magazine articles. I couldn't imagine trying to pass a course online. Could you? Of course, I'm 50 in my 50s too. So, but online is not education. That's not education.
Okay, here's the question. Chris reposted it. Thank you, Chris. Brought to you by Meldon Law. What are your thoughts on Tua? Should the Fins give him a long-term contract?
Zero.
That's
no.
You don't like Tua? I think Tua is an extremely accurate thrower. He's really good in that system. He's fragile, but
yes.
Who else?
The question was
who else do you want? I guess who would you replace him?
Well, let's look at the free agent market. Let's look at this draft. My God. But think about this. Tua Tagovailoa. I think the world of him. I love him. Great Alabama quarterback. One of the greatest plays in championship history happened with Tua Tagovailoa and Devontae Smith. All right, great. But we're talking about the NFL, which stands for not for long. Okay, Not for long. And this guy, even though he didn't get hurt last year, did you have an ounce of confidence that he would be able to perform in Kansas City in that playoff game? And what the hell happened to them against Tennessee at home? And what the hell happened to them losing that division?
Well, it wasn't just him, JC.
I know, but did he put did the quarterback get the ball in the end zone?
We got bad service in regional Mississippi.
In the end zone. And that's the thing I'm saying. Is that, okay, am I there? Am I here?
Yeah.
Shoot. Can't hear me? Well, all I'm saying is I would not sign him to a long-term deal. He can win you a couple games, but is he going to win you the Super Bowl? I don't know.
Well, there's only about 5 guys that I would even say have a chance to win a Super Bowl. So it ain't like they just fall off trees.
Would you sign him to a 5-year or 8-year deal?
I don't know who my other option would be, is my point. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Justin Herbert.
Right.
Okay.
No.
But he's just like everybody else in the league. So.
But I think there's an issue with. I still think that he's got health. I just think there's an issue with his durability. That's all.
Well, I agree with that. He's a little guy, man. He's barely 6 foot tall, and he's fragile.
I think the world of him. The question should be, what's Dallas going to do with Dak Prescott when that contract expires? That's
cares.
What I would. Nobody cares. Dallas.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the Cowboys, JC. We're gonna you go jog around the duck pond there. And we're going to talk to Steve Russell. We're actually going to talk about some sports now. We talked wrestling all the whole show.
I love Russ. That was good stuff. People love it. Yeah, Russ has got good info. Gator baseball will be fine, everybody. Don't worry about it. And I'll let you know how it goes on Monday. I'll be back.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by the Dean of Sports Talk Radio, Steve Russell. Talk baseball. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. And go back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. We're joined by the Dean of Sports Talk in the Gainesville area, Steve Russell. Good morning, Coach Russell. How you doing?
I'm sorry?
First of all, before we get into baseball, just your thoughts, man. I'm one of the few, I don't know if I'm the few, but I love this basketball team. I love the guard play. I like how our bigs run around. I've stated and have gotten some nasty messages, but it's nothing against him. But I think they're a better team without Riley Coogan when he plays. My eyes tell me he's not a great basketball player. When you look at this team with, I don't know how many games they have left, they're going to make the tournament. Everybody talks about they got to play better defense. I don't know if they can. It does not matter. You do a show weekly with Mark Wise, who knows more basketball than both of us. He says you have to outscore people to win games.
Yeah.
So should there be any concern for the Gators? We got people here on YouTube talking about we need to play better defense. I don't know if they can.
Well, I mean, I get the point about playing better defense. I think Todd Golden would tell you we need to play better defense, but the strength of your team is putting the ball in the basket. And that's the name of the game, right? You don't win games 10-8. I mean, that's playing defense. I get the point, but if you outscore the opponent, the idea is to beat them by one, whether it's 60-59 or 90-89, right? The bottom line is you beat them. And the way this team wins is by scoring. That's what they've got to do.
Yeah, and Mark here on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet Plum, says the basketball team's problem is the same as the football team's. Defense needs to tighten up. Too many easy buckets for Bama. Well, if you watch Alabama, who's probably been the premier basketball program in the conference the last 3 years, they don't play defense.
No.
Look at how many easy buckets we had the other night. So yes. You have to take your orange and blue goggles off and we are what we are. We're a very good basketball team, and that's what you do. I mean, you score the basketball, and they got two guards that are studs, in my opinion. Moving forward, baseball. Got off to were you there for the game against St. John's on opening night?
Yeah, I did the game.
Did you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that I should know this, but is that the first time they lost an opener against a non-conference team?
I guess a non-conference team.
Well,
no,
just
Florida lost to Duke.
Okay.
That's the second time Florida's lost under Kevin O'Sullivan on opening day, and the first time it was Duke. So not the first time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a great crowd. It was we won 2 against North Florida. You're going to be calling the games this weekend against Columbia. What have you seen so far? I mean, it's really early in the year. What have you liked and what have you not liked?
Well, let's go back to St. John's. I mean, after that game, Florida's going to lose and they're not going to be in the world. I mean, after one game, but Cade Fisher was not good. And I was impressed by St. John's, Shane. When pitchers leave balls over the plate, you're supposed to make them pay for it. And St. John's did. They didn't have any cheap hits. They hit the ball. And they deserved to win that game on that day. So obviously, can Cade Fisher be a Friday night guy? That's one question. Liam Peterson was lights out. Lights out. I saw him pitch twice during the fall here and then during the spring. And he's the real deal. And you can see why they're so high on him with a freshman getting a start. So I like that. I like the back end of the bullpen because you've got Slater and you have Neely, 2 guys that have been there and done that. I think people forget Florida only returns 6 pitchers, Shane, from last year. 6. That's it. And I think you have to go back and look at what you lost. Okay, let's just go back and look at what you lost. You lost Wyatt Langford, right, who makes the entire lineup better because of his presence in it. You lost Josh Rivera, who is excellent defensively and a really good bat. You lost the leadership of BT Riopel plus his long ball and 2 pitchers who got the ball every single weekend. Here you go, boys. And they're going to start in AAA and maybe be in the big leagues. They lost all that. You just don't replace that with guys that fast. They're going to do that job. So this may be a bit of a work in progress. There's talent on this team, no doubt. But here's the other thing. As a hitter, Luke Heyman last year, as a freshman, hit 12 homers. Well, he had all those guys in front of him. He had Rivera in front of him, Langford in front of him, Riopel in front of him. Well, he had number 3 the other night. Now he's the 3-hole guy. So can the other hitters now help him? This is going to be a bit of a work in progress, but I think they've got the capability, Shane, of being a really good offensive team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. In the lineup, you just mentioned some good bats that, people had to pitch to when, because they had Cags. Is Cags going to be protected with enough bats around him to get pitches to hit?
Well, they moved him to the 2-hole, which I really like. One of the things that a lot of coaches, at least at the high school level, do, they put their best hitters top of the order because over the course of a year, you get more at bats. And I think that's the thing here behind Cags moving to 2. Will he have as many RBI opportunities? Maybe not. But think about it, Shane. Over the course of a year, if you give him 20, 25, 30 more at bats, I like that. I like him at the plate more because of what he can do. So he's not going to have the year I don't think he had last year. He's going to be pitched to differently. Everybody knows about him now. So if you pitch around Cags in some way, the 3-4 guys got to make him pay for that. They got to make him pay for pitching around.
Yeah, Colby Shelton, the transfer from Alabama, who was a really good player for them. What have you seen so far out of him early in the season?
Watched him right before the season started. He's got tremendous power. We saw the home run he hit the other day. It was a mile out of the stadium. He can hit. I think the question about him was how good he was defensively. And I think Kevin O'Sullivan knows a thing or two about, shortstops that have played here. He thinks he's a very good. Is he Rivera? Probably not. But you know what? You got to make routine plays. That's what you're supposed to do. And then every once in a while, make a spectacular one. And they believe that he can do that. So I think middle of the order bat, a guy who can play defense like that, I think he's going to fit right in.
Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. We got Steve Russell here talking a little Gator baseball on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. We've had multiple people, since the season started, ask questions. Why doesn't Sully like to play small ball? Why doesn't he ever bunt? You got an answer for us?
Yeah, he doesn't like it particularly. That's the main thing. But look, there aren't many games now that are won 3-2, 2-1, where small ball really has to fit in. Most games now are what you saw the other day was saying, 9-5, 8-6. Now, are there situations where he will do that? If it's late in the game, it's a one-run game and you're trying to push across an insurance run. And here's the other thing. People forget this. Maybe some guys don't bunt well. That's the other thing. Okay, the situation calls for you to bunt. Well, if I'm a hitter and I can't bunt very well, you're asking me to do something. You put me in a position to fail because I'm not a great bunter. And now you could say, well, everybody should be able to bunt. Well, everybody can't hit 300, so everybody can't bunt as well. So that's part of it. But in this day and age, Shane, with with offense, you don't bunt a lot. You just don't.
Let's talk about, be a strong baseball team. You want to be strong up the middle. You lost Ryle Pell. We know what kind of leader he was. Rivera, Curlin, but now you got Colby Shelton and Curlin. And have they settled on a center fielder, or is it by committee right now?
Yeah, I think that's still a work in progress because, we'll see if Guy, very good defensively, but will he hit? Robertson's gotten off to a great start. And I think if he continues to hit like that, and Ty Evans is back from injury now, then you put Robertson back in center field. We saw how good he is defensively last year, and then with Evans and right. So I think Robertson will be the guy. He hit 4 hits the other night. It's interesting. They shifted, UNF did on almost every Gator hitter, and Robertson hit against the shift 4 consecutive times, and they never moved. At some point, you got to understand the dudes hitting against the shift don't shift, but they continued to, and Robertson just said, okay, here, I'll just flick one to left field. That's what he did.
Yeah.
So that was good to see.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Greg says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, looks like Cag swings at a lot of bad pitches again.
Look, he's not a contact hitter. Guys that hit the ball hard are going to look bad because of the way that he swings. But remember, look at his batting average. Look at his batting average. If you swing at 2 bad pitches in that bat, Shane, and you double in the gap,
who cares?
Anybody going to remember the 2 swings that you took that were poor?
Yeah.
No. So let's just see, what the result is. And again, I'm going to say this again. He's got to understand now he's going to get pitched differently because everybody knows what he can do. The other night, they threw him a lot of change-ups and stuff away. That's what I would throw him to. Do you want to throw him a fastball, middle in? I don't think you do. He'll put it in the bleachers over there someplace. So he's going to have to adjust as pitchers adjust to him.
Yeah. Greg also says, so we shouldn't have been number 2. Sully, when he came on my program last week, he says we're not the number 2 team in America right now.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not right now. But that doesn't matter right now. The preseason, Shane, is like football, right? Oh, this team's number 15 in the preseason poll. So what does that mean? It means nothing, right? It's what you do when you go out there. And I'll say this, next weekend we go to Miami, and Stetson next week. So now you start playing, some of the better teams within the state. You start to get a better feel of who we are.
Yeah, Joseph makes a good point. He's got to swing at bad pitches to get hits. No one's going to throw him something he can tee off on.
We got to be patient, though. That's the thing you don't want to do. If you get impatient, then you start reaching, then you start, looking at bad pitches. That's what you don't want. You just have to be patient. And sometimes for hitters like that, it's not easy.
How important, and you probably saw him in the preseason, with practice and stuff like that. Obviously he's going to be the day 3 starter. Did his location look better to you?
Which guy are you talking
Cags.
about?
I'm talking about Cags.
Oh, yeah. Yes. He's better. They didn't play, remember, because they got rained out.
Right.
So we haven't seen him yet, but in watching him, in the fall here and practice before the season, his location is better. The thing with him, I think, is sometimes I think he tries to be a little bit too fine when he pitches. Just, you got stuff, dude. Throw it. Throw it. And they've been preaching that to him. And I think the key for him, like any other pitcher, Shane, can he throw strikes? Can he get ahead of hitters? Hitters don't hit as well when it's an 0-2 count. Hitters don't hit as well when it's a 1-2 count. They hit better when it's a 3-1 count. So if his control, he's got stuff, but can he throw strikes early and throw quality strikes? That's going to be the key for him.
Yeah, baseball's strange. After losing to St. John's, we had people complaining. We're going to lose some Wednesday night games this year. That's just baseball. Really, the only thing that matters, in my opinion, in college baseball is your Miami, your Florida State games, and then conference play. Am I wrong to think that?
No, you're not wrong. Go back and look at any Gator year, even the World Series championship year. They lost some midweek games. That's just how it is. Because again, what you're trying to do in a midweek game is, if you can find a consistent midweek starter, this time of the year, they play 5 games a week, right? And then when the SEC starts, they play 4. So you're trying to get young arms out there like we saw the other night, because it's an audition, Shane, because they're going to need some of those young arms to help them in an SEC series. They're just gonna. You can't expect your starting pitchers to go out there every time and pitch 8 innings. That's not going to happen. So what if you have an off day like Cade Fisher had? Well, now other guys got to reach that until you get to the back end, and that's where Slater's so great, because he can give you 3 or 4 innings out of the bullpen to get to Neely. But some of those young arms, Phil Pott, we saw, very impressed by him the other day. They're going to have to help.
Yeah. Looking at you don't play everybody in the SEC. You have different series. I don't know, in your opinion, do you like our SEC schedule? I know we go back to back. We go, I think, to Vandy and Arkansas late in the year. That ain't easy.
No,
but for the most
look
part.
Look at Vandy. They're struggling.
Yeah.
Dayton beat them the other day, right? Mississippi State and Ole Miss are bad.
That's hard to believe. That is hard to believe.
Yeah, well, think about it. When you win a championship, everybody's happy. A national champion, hard to do. You know that, right? Well, they're paying for it now because a lot of those kids transferred. Bianco there were rumors he was going to be let go had they not come back and won when they did. So this league doesn't forgive. So that back-to-back weekend, and then this coming down to the SEC, oftentimes it comes down to the last weekend. Who does what? Well, for the umpteenth time, Florida ends its season on the road again. Florida never's home last SEC weekend. The good news is it's at Georgia, which is kind of, in a rebuild with a first-year coach. But the schedule is not easy. But look, in the SEC, it's never easy. There's a lot of good teams in this league.
There's no question about it. All right, before we get you out of here, Steve, they changed the format of the SEC baseball tournament. Do you like it or no?
I do like it. I don't like the fact that some teams don't participate, like it is now. So I just think it's a better thing. I do like the new way they're going to do it. And look at basketball, right? So there's teams that are going to get a double bye. Well, that's going to be similar to that in baseball as well. So if you play well, you earn that. I like that. But I also like the fact that, everybody gets a chance.
We just had a question from Andy on Facebook Live. All your interviews with Cornelius Ingram, who's done a great job at Hawthorne, do you think he'll ever coach college football?
Well, we could spend 2 hours on this. Look at the exodus of college coaches to the NFL. I get his question. Could he do that? I think so. I mean, he's done a great job there, obviously. But do you want to get in to that grind? He told me, Shane, that he took a week off between the end of football and the start of girls basketball because he was tired, worn out. Well, now in college, with all this going on,
yeah,
He's capable of that, yes, but would he want to do that given where we are now? And I don't know if you saw what Greg Sankey's proposing. He's proposing a whole new December calendar to give coaches a chance to breathe now. I think that's going to happen, by the way. But until it does, why in the world would you want to coach in college if you can coach in the NFL? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of people wanted to get your thoughts on OU and Texas coming in next year. I mean, obviously, they're great in baseball and softball. It's just going to be another two teams to add to the mix.
Yeah, gymnastics, they're really good. They're good in a lot of things. I think if you're going to tell me it just means more, right? Because that's the SEC. Well, guess what? It's meaning more now because two other really good teams are coming into the league. And this goes back to Sankey again, trying to protect the league with the Big Ten, Shane. They want more teams in the playoff because they understand that in this league, you're going to knock each other off, but you can still be good. They want more representation with a chance to win. I think that's a good thing. But yeah, Oklahoma and Texas, I can't wait. Going to be great.
Well, it's just like all the stuff I do with you during football season on your show, and you hear it daily. Everybody's always complained about Tennessee, Chattanooga rolling into the swamp and this little directional school. Well, quit bitching about this year's schedule, buckle your chin strap, and embrace it because it's the hardest schedule ever in the history of college football, probably. Enjoy it because that's what y'all wanted.
And that's right. And here's the other thing. I'm not saying the schedule isn't tough because it is, Shane, but are you telling me this program's to the point where you can't beat Miami at home?
No, I think the first 5 games.
At home? Yeah.
I think we'll be favored in the first 5 games.
Yeah. Now, Miami's got that Ward. He could make a big difference in their passing game. Yeah, because he's really good. But can he assimilate? We'll see. That's a whole other discussion another time.
Yeah, no doubt. Steve, appreciate it. Let everybody know you'll be on the call this weekend, correct?
Yep, got all 3 games this weekend. I always enjoy doing that, and I enjoy you, my friend. Appreciate you.
And real quick, let everybody know how they can listen to your show, and also what day are you doing your deal with Mark Wise?
Hoop There It Is Monday at 11 a.m. I love having him there. Like you said, he knows more basketball than I forgot, so it's always good to have him there. And of course, Sports Scene, noon to 2 weekdays.
That's the Dean of Sports Talk right there, Steve Russell. Appreciate it, my man.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Shane.
He was joining us on the Titan More Highline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. On this day in 2021, Tiger Woods crashes his car driving south of Los Angeles, injuring both his legs. And thankfully, he walked away, and he's still here with us. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Have a great weekend, folks. Gators, big series with Columbia in baseball, basketball against Vanderbilt. We'll recap it all next week. Have a great day, great weekend. See you on Monday.